Come on, Wi-Fi. Come on already. What's going on, Jay Corn? Billionaire H is in the building. Let's go, crypto people. Life is good. Internet, not so much, but life is good. Crazy things going on in the good old US. Crazy things going on in the good old US of A. What in the world? Just some madness right now. We're gonna resolve and strengthen our resolve to get through it. Crazy times in the US. Let's go. We're early. You and I are early. We're playing a game that 99.99% of the masses don't even know is being played. And we are winning, my friends. Let's go. It's crazy times, man. Crazy times, for sure. Crazy times for sure. So, hey, what's going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is a digital asset space. Happy Wednesday to each and every one of you. Interesting times, Jay Corn. Interesting times in the US. Interesting stuff. I was watching Patrick Bet-David earlier today. Had a very interesting guest on, Patrick Bet-David from Valuetainment. Do you guys check out Valuetainment in the PBD podcast? Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. US is in trouble. I think I said it on the stream yesterday. I can't wait till we get to 2024. It's just some crazy stuff going on right now, right? Crypto is a great distraction in a lot of ways. And interestingly enough, crypto will keep you in the know. Like, crypto will keep you in the know. It's amazing that I hear these podcasters that are not crypto podcasts talking about world events. And I'm like, yeah, the digital asset space covered that a week ago, 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, right? It's very interesting to see how up to date and informed you can be once you're in this digital asset space. It is really fascinating to see that. And you see podcasters with millions of subscribers covering it days and sometimes weeks later is, and we're talking about world events. We're talking about global macro world events like BRICS Nation and what China and Brazil just recently did, right? So it's fascinating to be early in the space and to be up to date on world events, because we realize that these world events affect the digital asset space. It's been an interesting journey for me to see how blessed we are to be in this space early. I got to tell you, very interesting. Good morning, Billionaire H. J Corn says all this crap is a misdirection by the government to distract the failing US dollar worldwide. Guarantee. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. They got to do something. You know, the idea is to keep people's head in the sand, keep them distracted as much as you can, so that we don't look to the real cause of the world's woes, which are each nation's government entities. Each nation's government entities. Right? This is where all the ills and all the woes spawn from, not citizens. Not the citizens, Jay Corn. Hey, you're watching Patrick Beck David talking about, he had a guest on there. Interesting dude. I think he's a character, but interesting nonetheless. Charlie something, maybe Charlie Kirk or something, but talking about the creatures from Jekyll Island and reading that book, right? Generational Wealth Wednesday, we cover that book all the time. And of course, the Confessions of an Economic Hitman as well. But anyway, it's interesting to see how the digital asset space is leading in informing and educating. That's and on a global macro level, not just about the digital asset space. That is very, very cool. Danny Loeb was in the building. How are you, bro? Good to see you, Danny. Good to see you checking in this morning. Just some interesting stuff going on in this space for sure. Not excited to hear about the Cash App guy. I mean, what's going on? What is going on? What's going on with that? So we decide as a nation to set up, something, to do something that's never been done in the history. And I don't know, indict, arrest, I don't know what you want to call it, a former residing US president. I mean, what is going on? The first thing I thought about when I heard that was they are afraid of this dude. They are afraid of this dude. That is so obvious to me. And it's not the US who's afraid of him the most. No. It's the enemy of the US that's afraid of him the most. Wow. Like, what the world? John Deaton gave a very eloquent speech and testimony in Maine today. We're going to cover that on a uplifting note. We'll get into John Deaton's thing for sure. Very nice speech he did in front of the legislators in Maine this morning. Very interesting. Listen, we're going to go over the numbers in the market because the market is doing what the market does. Shout out to Polylastic. Holy moly. I don't know. I'm feeling like Casper's asleep, or we'll see. Shout out to Polylastic. And I got to go in on this Radiant Capital. I just think if I'm going to say, I did go in on it. If I'm going to say that it's going to be the Aave on Arbitrum, like Aave was in Ethereum, and Aave got to several $100, and whatever market cap it has. That is the crypto seizures play. Certainly don't do what I do. I would never begin to tell you what to do with your money, but that's the play that I consider going forward. Boy, oh boy. And we're going to cover our sponsor for the show. It's a Hotspot Shield VPN. For sure, we'll cover that. And we're also going to cover the Spritz Finance because, look, being able to pay your bills with crypto, I paid a couple of bills now with crypto on the Polygon network. So it cost me about 0.01 cent. Yeah, baby. That was cool. That's right, because we're in DeFi. You guys know that. We're in DeFi up in here, curve finance, convex finance, right? We've been on Aave, we've been on Benkei, right? Been on all the phantoms, the spirit swaps, whatever. We've been in the DeFi deal. We'll get some Cosmos staking, Kava staking, get some earnings, take the earnings, some of the earnings, pay some bills. Take some wins, right? Take some wins like Polylastic in the last 30 days. Pay some bills. Yeah, sweet. It is sweet, sweet, sweet to be able to do that. I got to tell you. Yep. Danny Lowe said, wow, Crypto Siege, did you see that Mexico has applied to become a BRICS member? That's troubling. And China is leading the charge right next to our border. This is really bad as Xi tells his military to prepare for war. Yeah, it's very, 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 very bad. And we did it to ourselves because we decided to do the, got to get this, back in the day, we decided that we were going to empower China and not Mexico. Not Mexico. We made that decision as a nation. And China flipped it on us. Because Mexico could have been this large manufacturing and producing things. But what we made a decision on was labor costs. And we didn't intelligently figure out who our enemy was. Yeah, for a few pennies. For a few pennies. Tell me about the difference in labor from China and Mexico. For a few pennies, we made that decision. Bad move. Bad move. Now Mexico is applying to become a BRICS member. Why? Do you think that is? Probably because this nation's government can't seem to figure things out. Yeah. What's going on, Michael Marchese? Good to see you, my friend. Interesting stuff. We're going to get into this John Deaton letter. We're going to go over the numbers. That's right. Jay Korn says the enemy is within. The enemy is within. Man, that was just at 28,000. Now it's down. It was just at 28 and everything was green. Interesting. Hey, look. Yeah, I was telling Miss Crypto Siege this earlier this morning, late last night and earlier this morning. We didn't participate in the confessions of an economic hitman. We didn't participate in that. My neighbor didn't participate in that. Your neighbor didn't participate in that. What's going on, Rodwell? No break. Good to see you, bro. Right? We didn't participate in that madness. That would be the nation's 3-letter alphabet groups participated in the madness that is the Confessions of an Economic Hitman. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I encourage you to get both books, 1 and 2. It's important that we understand the truth, because the truth will set you free. If we don't know it, if we don't know the truth about the ills and the woes of a nation's government and its alphabet group, how can we begin to move forward if we don't know the truth, the real deal? I was telling Ms. Crypto C's this the other day, in my early days in the military, I was just trying to figure out this whole thing that I kept seeing. They hate us. They hate us, Americans. I'm like, what in the world? And then when you're in the military, you know what they put it off as? Well, we have all these freedoms, and they're just jealous that we have these freedoms. That was the lie. That was the mistruth for the reason for the ultimate hate Americans. That was the lie. It's not why they hated us. They hated us because we went in there and pillaged their resources under the guise of a mutual transaction. Nation after nation after nation after nation after nation. These are the words of a dude who was part of it. We're smack dab right in the middle of going from nation to nation and pillaging it of its resources. Yeah. That's the reason. It wasn't the freedom thing. It wasn't the freedom thing. They may have been jealous of the freedoms that we have here and envied that and wanted perhaps more of that for themselves. But the hate spewed from what this nation did to those nations' economies and resources. That is the truth. That is the truth. So let's go over these numbers, guys. Let's go over CoinGecko, see what's going on with CoinGecko. Let's see what CoinGecko's got to say. Now, I just refreshed this, so there's no need to refresh it again. The total cryptocurrency market cap is at 1.23 trillion. The Bitcoin dominance actually broke 44%. That's interesting. It's at 43.9% now. Bitcoin is trading at $27,916. Ethereum is at $1,892. It's interesting to see Ethereum just creep up and just creep up and just creep up. In some ways, I wish I had more Ethereum, and just other ways, I don't. It's just a really odd thing. I think I'd want to have more Bitcoin than Ethereum. And even though Ethereum is outpacing it in terms of gains. Isn't that interesting? XRP is trading at 50 cents on the nose there. That's interesting. Dogecoin's up 27%. Shout out to Elon Musk. Interesting how these markets work. So there it is, guys. The market's just doing what it does. Let's take a look at Polylastic and the BAX token, or BAB. It's interesting following these projects. It really has. I took my 70% gain or whatever it was, took it, ran with it. It's on Polygon. I'm encouraged by that. It's based upon indexes of the traditional financial system, which is a traditional financial system product, right? Indexes, or index of, which is just a culmination of different products in the digital asset space, whether it be NFTs or other cryptos or DeFi platforms. And it says, well, if you don't know about Cardano or EOS or Phantom or XRP, whatever it might be, well, we're going to just put them all together and let you just invest in the fund, take your wins that way, right? Very, very similar to an index fund or maybe even an ETF. There's Polyastic there. Let's see. When you look at the numbers, it's not bad numbers for 7 days, 44%, 14 days, 272%. Yeah. In 30 days, 257%. I told you guys this, guys, early on. Remember, I asked you guys in the stream, where should I go, Polyastic or BABB? And the wallet, because I had used the wallet, the BAB wallet, I went all in on the BABB token, and I only invested a couple hundred in Polylastic. Very, very interesting project. Oh, that's very, very interesting. That's, this is from, where does March start? But I think I mentioned this to you guys in February. Yeah. Interesting chart. I like the app. Been using it. Quick. Interesting project. Been following them. So I went all in here. Only went a couple hundred on Polyact. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys updated on that. Like both projects. I don't know if I liked it. I think I liked the fact that the BABB actually had a working product. And so I went with the wallet, used the wallet, and went with all in because it had a working product. The index on Polylastic, I don't believe has come out yet. So I'll keep you guys advised of that. And then we're going to get into this John Deaton thing, but let me say hey to some people who may have checked in that I might have missed. Did I miss anyone? Pookie's in the building. How are you, my friend? Ted Cleveland, what's good? What's good, money? How you doing, bro? Billionaire 8 says he's enjoying the ride on Polyax. Did you take some profit? I took profit, bro. I took some profit on it, but yeah, it's been a cool ride for sure. I took profit, put it in some stables. We'll see how it goes. J. Corn Seats, do you think if the dollar crashes and we become like Venezuela or Turkey, that a civil style war would happen? Yes, I do. But civil style war, I don't know. The dollar crashing, I don't think it's going to be for a while. And I think that the powers that be have a plan in CBDCs. But I think it's going to be a while before the dollar would actually crash. G1 is, BRICS are doing their thing, but they got a long ways to go to try to catch up to, right? The US dollar in terms of the world's reserve currency anyway. But Ted Cleveland and Pookie, I appreciate you guys checking in for sure. Let's go over this John Deaton. Did you guys see this John Deaton thing? It's interesting stuff. Crypto Law TV put this out, Deaton Law Firm. Madam Chair, Senator Brakey, and the honorable members of the committee. By the way, I believe the senator was on crypto Twitter asking who should he have in the digital asset space to come and speak on behalf of the digital asset space at their event, at their hearing. And there was a few people who mentioned John Deaton. Mr. Deaton says, thank you for the invitation to offer this testimony to the Financial Services Committee in regards to LD 990, which would authorize certain financial institutions in Maine to accept virtual currency deposits while maintaining 100% in reserves. My name is Sean Deaton. I'm an attorney who's currently representing tens of thousands of digital asset holders from Maine and the other 50 states as well, as scores of countries around the world who have been harmed by a federal government that has refused to set clear rules or move legislation as you are considering doing today. Allowing special purpose financial institutions to custody digital assets with 100% reserves for customers is an important step that often states like Wyoming have taken. It is the first of many steps for providing clear regulatory guidance on digital assets within your state's sovereign powers to regulate commerce. Remember Jeremy Hogan? He said the Fourth Amendment rights have been breached, and look to the 10th Amendment, which covers your state's ability for sovereignty. Jeremy Hogan put that out. It will raise questions about custody or digital assets, consumer protections, how you will classify digital assets, and how their use in Maine will align with your state's commercial code. We are currently in the midst of a banking crisis in the United States. We have witnessed the bailout of Silicon Valley Bank, the seizure of Signature Bank, requiring a new purchaser to divest itself of deposits from crypto companies, and a coordinated effort by federal agencies to unbank crypto companies. Allowing certain financial institutions to custody crypto with a 100% reserve will actually afford more protection to Maine residents than exists in the current financial reserve banking system. Powerful stuff there. As a lawyer and as a digital asset holder myself, let me help make a few important things very clear. Digital assets are simply lines of the computer code that provides some use or purpose to the user based on a platform that the code is native to. They are not scary or sinister. They have usefulness based on what they were designed to do. Many might have no useful purpose, while many others have great utility and can offer cost saving and efficiencies to our economy that can be a great benefit to the people of Maine and the rest of this country. The token itself is not a security and should not be regulated as one. Over 70 years of federal case law, in my view, proves that. So please don't fear the technology, as it poses no threat to anyone. How some people might package and sell it is a different matter that can be overseen by other laws. But that has nothing to do with the computer code that makes up the asset. So depositing it in a special purpose financial institution is a perfectly reasonable act that should be allowed in the state of Maine. I must also share a warning to you. I mentioned I represent tens of thousands of digital asset holders in battle with the federal agency that is supposed to be defending their interests, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. The actions of that agency and others in the federal government in recent times is actively threatening not only digital asset holders like my clients, but they are threatening your right and ability as a state to pass legislation like this. I think it's always important to understand we all operate in different lanes. And when you have attorneys and lawyers sounding the alarm, law firms like Cooper and Kirk sounding the alarm about where this nation's and other nations' governments and alphabet groups are going and what they're trying to do. And you have these lawyers and law firms sounding the alarm about your rights. Got to pay attention because this is where they operate in. This is where they operate in. Hugely important to pay attention to that. I'd like your consent, Mr. Chairman, says John Deaton, to share a legal memorandum by the respected Washington, look here, talking about the same law firm I was talking about, by the respected Washington, D.C. law firm, Cooper and Kirk, which details the various ways in which federal banking regulators, so that is, by the way, a part of this nation's three-letter alphabet group, which details the various ways in which federal banking regulators are illegally trying to financially suffocate legal U.S. businesses who have violated no laws or regulations in their use of digital assets. It is being called Operation Choke Point 2.0, and this law firm has relevant experience and important evidence to share with this committee in this memo. It explains how federal regulators are seeking to undermine Maine and the private sector in this state through actions against anyone who uses this technology in their business. Powerful stuff, John Deaton. John Deaton, the pit bull. John Deaton, that pit bull. He's doing it the right way, family. Like, he is doing it the right way. Peter said, I smashed the like buttons coming in. Good to see you, Peter. Right? Danny Loaf is on it. Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah. That's why I said on the stream yesterday, Danny, can't wait to 2024. Can't wait. It's so obvious. It's so obvious what's going on with this administration. It is so obvious. And if it's obvious to me, what do you think it's obvious to our enemies? There is a fact, I just saw it on crypto Twitter, there's a fact about current administration taking dollars and sacrificing its country for personal profits. I mean, right? So like, that's a fact. And that's a problem. When you sacrifice your country for personal profits, considering the position that you hold, that's a big time problem. Furthermore, Mr. Chairman, I request your consent to share a legal brief I filed with the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York in the case of the SEC versus Ripple Labs, a landmark case which may set a sweeping precedent on how digital assets can and cannot be regulated by the SEC under the 1933 Securities Act and subsequent case law. I filed this amicus brief on behalf of 75,000 holders of the XRP virtual currency. Love it, John Deaton, love it. Who were grievously harmed by the SEC's lawsuit against Ripple in December of 2020. The details of the critical legal points for this committee's information are all in this document, so I won't take up time explaining them. I will just say that, like the federal banking regulators, the SEC, which is another and separate three-letter entity of this nation's government, the SEC is operating far outside what Congress authorized it to do nearly a century ago, and suing legally operating companies like Ripple. In the process, it harmed my clients and thousands of others with this lawsuit and others like it. I have also spoken to members of Congress to urge them to do what you are doing here today, to move on legislation and end the lack of regulatory clarity that lets power-hungry regulators like the SEC to overreach and abuse law-abiding companies and asset holders. Nicely said, John. As much as I commend you for the LD 990 and other such bills that will hopefully follow, anything that you do as a legislature will become meaningless if the federal government succeeds at its legal strategies, like through federal lawsuits such as the Ripple case or other acts of gross overreach designed to wipe out blockchain technology, like the Restrict Act, and its legal use in the United States. I not only strongly urge you to adopt this legislation, but I also urge you to consider your own political and legal actions to defend your right and ability as the state of Maine to adopt this legislation and provide such legal ground for the use of digital assets. This could include amicus filings in federal cases that appear destined to follow soon against American companies. I'll never forget that tweet. John Deaton put it out. He was at his local pharmacy. At his local pharmacy, and Alipay was allowed to enter and do business for payments. And yet this nation's government decided to sue an American company and effectively put a cloud on title and its ability to operate in its country, in its very own country. But yet the enemy's company is allowed to operate at your local CVS. To file soon against American companies as well as public and political communications to federal authorities to stop their declared war. They declared it. Elizabeth Warren declared it. War on crypto in America. I'm eager to offer my assistance to you as political leaders as well as an institution to explore your options for pushing back against this federal overreach. John Deaton is a smart dude. He's a smart dude doing all the right, using the words correctly and properly. See that? For pushing back against this federal overreach and abuse. Nicely done. I appreciate your attention and consideration. Nicely done, John. Nicely done. It's good stuff. The dude is putting his money, right? He's getting in the work. It's one thing to just have a channel. It's another thing to get the work. right? It's nice. It's another thing to get the work. I'm beginning to think about that as well, John. Danny Law says, this Judge Torres may be under pressure not to issue a ruling. So it would stall the opportunity for appeal process, slowing it down even more. Yeah. I keep seeing some stuff about a delay. I don't know about the delays, but I thought I saw something about a delay on the ruling, but I haven't seen anything from Judge Torres or from Deaton or from Jimmy James. But I just, you know, in the world in which we live here in the States, what is the pressures to put on the judicial system? And who's applying that pressure? There's a reason why we had the checks and balances the way that we have it. Who's putting the pressure on the judicial system? And is the judicial system, the ruling has been delayed until June? Is that official, Danny Law? Like who's putting this pressure on? Did Brad Garlinghouse or Stuart Alderati talk about this delay? I just been kind of hearing it. I haven't seen anything. But it's a big, big deal. And I think we all understand that this current administration has made a decision that it's going to give in to not only the enemy, but the nation's regulators who want this thing to die. And God knows who's gotten to the nation's regulators. God knows. God knows, right? So it's going to be very, very interesting to see. But I want to, hopefully, I haven't seen it, but I want to see whether there is some official thing, or is it just, we're just speculating that it's going to be delayed. I want to see that. So we're gonna have to see what's going on here. But I would imagine that Brad Garlinghouse or Stuart Alderati would have let us know if there was some kind of official kind of, you know, ruling on that. I want to cover this idea with Coinbase investing in consensus. A little, I don't know. I think the XRP entertaining content creators have come to the conclusion that it's not Shangri-La between Ripple, the company, and its asset that it supports, XRP, and Coinbase, and the assets that it supports, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's not Shangri-La. I think we've kind of come to that conclusion. Coinbase Ventures, never forget, Coinbase Ventures invested in consensus less than 1 year after delisting XRP from their exchange. And we all know, because we've been paying attention, that the greatest threat to both consensus and JP Morgan and our enemy is Ripple and its payment system. That's the deal. That's the truth that no one wants to really talk about, but that is the deal. JP Morgan, Joe Lubin got together with the help of nationalist law firms like Sullivan and Cromwell to take down their biggest competitor. Yeah. And our enemy was like, yeah, because by the way, we do have this Alipay and our, you know, thing that we would like to see it win as well. So let's all come together. And who can we go to slow down this monster that is this behemoth of a company with this groundbreaking technology in the payment space? Who can we turn to? Who do we have on the inside? Oh, Wait a minute. William Hinman, Jay Clayton. Yeah, we've worked with them in the past. If you don't think those conversations take place, it's I don't know what else I can say to you about it. But they take place because this is about money. The internet of information is another thing. But the information of value, or the internet of value, that is a whole new thing. Now, I promise you that if Ripple had this, I promise you this, you can mark it down in your calendar. When Ripple, the company, Ripple came to the fintech company, the blockchain infrastructure company out of California, when they came in the fork in the road, and Brad and Chris Larson came to the fork of the road, which said there's smart contracts off to the left, and there's cross-border payments off to the right, payments. When they made the decision to go to the right to the payments, cross-border payments, that was the beginning of the deluge of the attacks. If they would have went down the smart contract route, they would not be in a lawsuit. They would not be in a lawsuit. They could have won the smart contracts just like they're winning payments and smart and cross-border payments easily. Cody is a beast. Danny Lowe. Cody is a beast. But they decided not to go down that direction. They decided to shelve it and go down this payments space with, I don't know, or however trillion in market cap it is. I don't know how many trillions it is. Now you're going up against JP Morgan and Citi, right? Now you're going up against the cartel. Everybody thinks Ripple is right. It's the cartel. JP Morgan is not on the side of Ripple. They're not trying to have a kumbaya moment. Right? Remember, they sent 10, 15 people from JP Morgan to the offices of Ripple. And Ripple said, we're good. That is the fact. That's how it works. That is how it works. Anybody know what's going on with Flare Finance? I don't know. Flare Community did an interesting video on Flare Finance and what they're doing in terms of DeFi. I haven't been paying attention to Flare Finance because of, they had some nastiness in their midst that I was not excited about. Speaking of BABB, guys, just to let you know, later today at 5 o'clock. Wait a minute. Did it already happen? It says today at 5. Oh, that's UK time. Shoot, that's great. That's going on now, I think. Don't forget today at 5 p.m., our CEO, but he said that's 5 p.m. UK time, 12 p.m. Eastern. So that interview is going on now. When did she do that interview? Is that like a Twitter Spaces? Because that should be going on right now, right? I think so. Let's see. Is that on Fox Business? No, there it is right there. Interview with BABB CEO Rush Halados. Interesting. Let's take a listen.
Account based. I knew I was going to mess that up. Stands for Bank Account Based Blockchain. Rush, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Eleanor.
Of course. So I wanted to talk to you today for a couple reasons. One, because I think your story is really fascinating and I want you to be able to tell our audience about it. But also because it's a great example of the good things that blockchain technology can do to improve everybody's everyday lives. And I think that gets a little bit overlooked here in the US sometimes. So I'd love for you to be able to tell me about Rush for our, BABB, Rush for our US audience. Just give us a little bit of a background, why you started it, what it is, and fire away.
Yeah, thank you. A few years ago, when I arrived first in the UK, I was I thought I would go to any bank, and for granted I will get a bank account. And unfortunately, it wasn't the case. So the banks, they require proof of address. So you have to have like a few months in one address in the UK to obtain a bank account. It's like a chicken and an egg, and now you want to rent a house, you need a bank statement. So it was like a mess. So I ended up being unbanked for one and a half years. So it was really very painful. And I was saying there is something wrong somewhere. I have to really do some research and understand why banks, they are, rejecting applications like myself, of course, as, let's say, classified as low income or just arrived newly in the UK. And then after I did a lot of research, I discovered that there are billions of people around the world without a bank account, for many reasons. The cost of doing business for banks, of course, the lack of, identities, and also many people are in low income. I thought about, I saw Bitcoin and I said, this technology behind Bitcoin is amazing. It's blockchain. Imagine if you can have, a way to transfer funds globally without, having these banks in the middle. And then I was doing IT before, and then I shifted to finance, and then said, okay, now I have to build a bank, not just for people in the UK, but a bank for everyone in the world.
Well, that's some interesting stuff there. I can't wait to check that interview out. I can't wait to check that out. Guys, I know I shared that with you. Those were the two places that I was looking to, PolyX and the BABB. And went all in on the BABB, the BAX token. Yeah. Danny Lowe says, who was the tech executive stabbed to death in San Francisco? Yeah, it was the Cash App CEO, Bob Lee. Yep. Cindy Lou's in the building. How are you, Cindy Lou? Is that Mr. or Mrs. going on there? Appreciate you checking in. Yeah, look, I didn't want to, that's some madness. I didn't want to bring that up, but yeah, that is some madness. In San Francisco, I was thinking to myself, like, what in the world is going on? Why 4? Was that what is that about? It's that's a tough thing, man, where you can just lose your life like that at any second for nonsense, right? Right? Nonsense, right? Jay Korn says, gold is 2021 an ounce, CJ. Oh, really? Is it? It's 2,000? Is it over $2,000 now? Interesting stuff, Jay Korn. Thank you for sharing it. So, yeah, so interesting time going on in this space in this country right now. 2 books that I'm reading with you guys I want to share with you. Some food for thought, perhaps. Maybe it's something that you want to look into. I was watching the PBD podcast this morning, and I commented on a video that I was watching. Of course, I was watching Naveen Gupta. He did a really good job as well. But a video I was watching where Patrick Bet-David from Value Entertainment was interviewing Charlie Kirk. Yeah, Charlie Kirk, right here. Charlie Kirk on Donald Trump's indictment and some other stuff. Patrick Bet-David will have guests on, and they'll talk about, today's events. And apparently, this Charlie Kirk guy is doing some stuff. So I put on here, I commented on this video about, because they were going over how 16% or less of a certain generation doesn't love America or something like that. Patrick gets into a lot of stuff. And I just commented, look, until there's a reckoning of realizing why such a thing is, in other words, for Americans to love America, what first has to happen is America loving its Americans. right? And it starts with the nation's governments and its three-letter people. Got to get that down first. Got to get that down before you can change that number from 16%, only 16% loving its country. You got to flip that around. You got to get those numbers right. So I tweet that out. But I'm reading a couple of books that I'll share with you guys. I'm reading this book here from William A. Darity Jr. and A. Kirsten Mullen. Very, very interesting book. William A. Darity is the Samuel Du Bois Cook Professor of Public Policy, African and African American Studies and Economics at Duke University. And Kirsten Mullen is a writer, folklorist, museum consultant, and lecturer whose work focuses on race, art, history, and politics. It's a very, very interesting book. On the surface, you think that it's about reparations, and it is and it isn't. But from here to equality, very, very good book, William A. Darity. And I like that it's professor driven, right? I like that it is professor driven. And so I'm reading that book, but I came across a YouTube video that I found to be very, very, very interesting. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can't find it. No, it's not there. Where do I want to go? I want to go to the library. And I want to go to today's videos playlist. Let's see if I can't find it. Like video, your clips. There it is, today's videos. Let's do this. Let's go view full playlist. And I came across another video from another teacher, interestingly enough, that I've been checking out. Let me find this video. I don't know why this does it from oldest to newest. I wish it did it from newest to oldest. Oh my God. Interesting stuff. But another book that I'm reading while I'm finding this is called Outlive: The Science and Art of Longevity. It's by Peter Attia, MD. Very, very, very good book. Let's see, is that it? Okay, welcome step by step. That's not it either. Let's go here to my playlist. Let me see something here. Is it here? Hold on. Sorry about this. Why don't I have that? Well. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Let me see. So I'll make sure this is the right one. This is another one by a teacher. I want to make sure it's the right guy.
33.
Yeah, it is.
And while it's fun to play.
Yeah, there it is. There. And there's another thing that I'm going through. Let me share this with you guys. I'm telling you, this is worth to read and listen to. I think this is, if we want to begin to heal things in this country, we got to start here. It says the parts of history you've always skipped. And it's talking about the great American history myth. This is from a teacher who taught in both high school and junior high school. It has over 3.3 million views. Again, I think if you want to begin to heal in this country and change that 16% number of only 16% of a generation loving this country. You got to ask yourself why that is and begin to delve deep in it. It's a good book. It's a good video to watch. Why doesn't have his name on here of the channel? It's K something. Let me pull it up. That's the title, The Part of History You've Always Skipped. He starts the video out by calling out the educational system on the great American history myth, he called it. Let me see if I get his channel. Okay, so it's Knowing Better is the name of the channel. Knowing Better. American history teacher. Yeah, in this particular video will really enlighten you, I believe. The part of history you've always,
and while it's fun to play alternate history,
skipped. So let me do this. Yeah, I am sharing it. But this book here is, this is my birthday gift, one of my books. It's called Outlive, The Science and Art of Longevity by Peter Attia. Really, really good stuff there. Really, really, really good stuff. So go here. Let's go back to the chat. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out this morning. Keyless is in the building. Hi, everyone. The biggest bank in Japan is on the edge of collapse. I did not see that, Danny Love. Thank you for sharing that, bro. Alex Wright says free Trump. Oh, my goodness. Can we believe that we did that? Like, what is going on? What's going on, Keyless? How are you? Craziness. Hold on a second, guys. Let me do something here real quick. Sorry, guys. I always got to do that when I'm kind of exiting on the podcast. Say, yep. Gold is at $2,037 an ounce right now, down $1.20. Interesting stuff, right? Interesting stuff is going on right now. But we're in the know. We won't be fooled. We won't be fooled. There's a reason why the nation's central banks are hoarding up gold. We won't be fooled, right? I like Miles Franklin as a place to go to physical gold. I used to use AppMex. I like Miles Franklin, milesfranklin.com. And I like Glint Pay. I like Glint to get my gold if I want to have something on the audio. Yeah, I just tuned that off for just a second, Danny. While I did something, said goodbye to my podcasters. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. So hopefully, because I know there's always like a delay. So Miles Franklin, I like Miles Franklin for gold. Robert Kiyosaki recommends him and his company. It's called milesfranklin.com. The website's down a little bit, so you got to actually kind of call, I think, for orders. And I like Glint Pay as well. Jay Corn, you have a good day as well. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off here. It's been a really, really cool hang. Alex Wright, thanks for checking in, bro. Danny Lowe, Keyless, Cindy Lou, thanks for checking in. Appreciate you guys being here. Peter, as always. Billionaire Age, Kev, Cleveland, and Pookie. Appreciate you guys being here. Rodwell, Nobrega, Marco Marchese. I appreciate each and every one of you checking in with the Crypto Seeds today. Who knows? I may do a live stream later today, going over those books that I'm reading. Maybe I'll do a generational wealth Wednesday, if it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. And talk about what I'm reading. Generational wealth. And maybe cover the topic of intergenerational wealth and how it didn't happen for a certain group of Americans. Maybe I'll do that as well. Hey, RC, good to see you. Hila says, I missed your birthday stream. He did indeed. But you're here now. All right. Bam, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna head off. Thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna end this live stream like I do all of my live streams. All of my live streams, and remind you guys of this.
Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather that we remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating, or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it.
I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.